Information-fueled.
Opinion-driven.
This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
7:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Want to welcome on in Brian Wilson. It's Wilson Wednesdays on WTN. Brian, of course, brought to you by the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Hey, Brian, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Today I come to you from my motorhome in Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh, what's going on there in Hot Springs? At the Waffle House there?
No, it's very exciting here at the KOA.
I love it. I love that you're a camper, Brian.
I'm hanging out at a KOA in Hot Springs, Arkansas, headed back to Nashville after a trip to Texas, so I'm on my way back home.
Very cool. Well, thank you for getting up early and, doing the radio hit for us.
No,
Brian,
no problem.
I got to ask, did you watch the interview you may not have, between Terry Moran from ABC?
No, I saw it last night, yeah.
Okay, so what did you think of the tenor? First
of all, I thought it was unnecessarily combative. It didn't need to be combative. I mean, look, you can ask hard questions, and I sort of think that I've sort of built a career around this, asking really hard questions, but doing it in a polite way. You don't have to be ugly, and I think he was almost like showing off for all the people on the left. See, I can get in here and beat up on this guy. I was unimpressed. There wasn't much news out of it. There was more fire than light, more heat than light in that interview. I didn't stand impressed with. He didn't break any new ground. There's not a thing that he broke that was new ground or interesting. It's just a rehash of the same old stuff.
One of the things that I thought was interesting is, and you're right, there is a way to ask a question. I think my ever so eloquent way that I put it in the 5 was, you can ask, targeted, direct questions without being an a-hole.
For example, Dan, if I wanted to have if I was interviewing you, I would start out by going, "Well, Dan."
Really? You're going to bring up "well, Dan"?
You go, Brian.
I have been well danned by my wife, my best friend, and now Brian Wilson.
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Your question.
It's all good. Did you hear? I thought this was really interesting, actually. So you obviously, and we always talk about your experience at the network level. This was Donald Trump last night as he introduced one Scott Jennings. Listen.
Right.
We have a man here that I don't know, but he's defending me all the time on CNN. And he defends me really well, but he can't go too far because if he goes too far, he'll get fired. I said, "You're amazing. You can take it right to the edge." And he really does a good job. He's not allowed to go any further. He would be off, if he really went totally crazy, which he'd like to do. But I think he's terrific. Scott Jennings.
So he comes out.
Michigan. We were flying in here today. And I said, look at these farms. I got to get a farm in Michigan because when you own as many libs as I do, you got to put a place to put them all. Thank you all very much.
So there you go. He's got to go to work today. How do you think he's going to?
Oh, I think it'll be fine. He is in CNN. I think what is happening at CNN right now, and I watch it a lot now and then just to see, what their take on things is. I think that CNN has had this history. They were, I think they started out in the old days as sort of an up the middle, but then they became increasingly, they started leaning to the left because they figured, well, Fox has got the right, we'll go to the left, and that didn't work out for them at all. And so then they came back, and tried to be, sort of an up the middle thing, and that didn't work. And now I think the people who own CNN would like it to be a lot more up the middle and fair. But it's just the folks there are so indoctrinated now with their talking points, and they just can't help themselves.
They would have to fire
when I see
everyone.
When I see Scott Jennings, I go, this guy's got a tough job, but he's brilliant at it. He's really, really good at it. And he knows just exactly how to just destroy them. And it's like they're in their own little echo chamber. And along comes Scott Jennings to give them a dose of, well, you're wrong about this, and here's why. And it's really always pretty compelling television.
It's interesting, too, because, they fired Don Lemon over there at CNN and some others. And there are reasons why they were fired. I don't remember exactly why. I think I remember Don Lemon was kind of rude and a jerk, but whatever. So not surprising. But when your entire staff is leftist and, as you said, indoctrinated, the owners, they would like them to go in a direction, but until you fire everyone, literally everyone, there's not much you can do because it seems like they're going to do what they want to do. By the way, do you think Scott Jennings would have a shot at replacing Mitch McConnell in the U.S. Senate? Because people are saying that he is considering a Senate run in 2026.
I think you have a real good chance. And I'd like, I would be I think that'd be a really good thing for him to do. He's in good shape with his bosses. He may irritate the leftists over there at CNN, but he's in good shape with them. But they just signed him to a new contract.
Yeah, so, big old raise too.
Yeah, big old raise. So they like him, and what they need to do is hire a bunch of more people like him.
Yes, absolutely right. All right, one more thing. We got to check traffic in a little bit, but Trump today is now day 101. So first 100 days. Interesting how some people will say Trump's first 100 days were great, and others say there's the worst 100 days in American history, depending on who you ask. What say you?
I think it's been a great, remarkable 100 days. They tried to do a lot, and there were a couple of occasions where things, weren't done elegantly. Let's put it that way.
Yes.
And so I think it's been a really, on balance, I think it's been a really good 100 days. It was interesting. One of the things I saw last night, I was watching a little bit of Fox, and they were talking about the 100 days, and they played the sound bites of all the Democrats talking about how disastrous the first 100 days have been. And then they went back and played from 2017 during his first term, what they said after his first 100 days. It was exactly the same words. It's like they just pulled out an old press release and just started using the old talking points. There wasn't one iota of difference between what they said in 2017 and what they said yesterday. Hey, look, I think he did well. I think on balance, we're headed in the right direction. A lot of people freaked out about tariffs, but I'm pretty convinced that if we just keep going down the way we're going, that there's some balancing factors there that will keep higher prices at bay, lower energy cost and the price of food coming down. And when you have lower energy costs, it really does help you. I mean, where's the evidence that the economy is falling apart? Because, you say, well, my 401k, the market doesn't like uncertainty, but as things start to kick in, and it takes a little while, I think the market's going to be fine.
7:15 on Nashville's Morning News. Got a lot more straight ahead with Brian Wilson. Time to check the roads on WTN. 15, Nashville's Morning News. As far as your weather today, it's going to be 88 degrees for a high, possible thunderstorms as well. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News. All right, so Brian, this notion of, and you're talking about tariffs, so I want to go down that road. This notion of sacrifice, it seems to me that Trump is sacrificing his polling because his numbers are down. I don't believe the polling, and I don't buy much into the polling, but just go with me here. So it seems like Trump is sacrificing his polling to try and change our economy, find ways to protect and create jobs, eliminate federal income taxes, deregulate, extend his tax cuts as well. To do that, he does need this tariff plan to work. That is, of course, impacting the markets. That is impacting his polling. He is sacrificing his polling to get the difficult work done. I think that's part of what would define Donald Trump's first 100 days is the fact that he really is trying to do something that has never really been done before.
It needed to be done a long time ago, and nobody wanted to take it on, and he's willing to do it. But imagine how quickly that's all going to turn around, Dan, when you start to see the tax cuts kick in, and people are getting real breaks in their tax liabilities. It's going to be a remarkable thing, and you will see public sentiment turn around completely. Listen, he's got nothing to lose. I mean, he can't run again. He is in a position, a unique position as presidents go, that he can come in and do that are hard and unpopular things that in the long term will pay off. Nobody else wanted to do this because they knew, well, we could try that, but it would take a long time for that to pay off. And we got to think about re-election and this, that, and the other in the midterms. He doesn't care. He's going to come in there and do what he thinks is right. I am confident that in time, this is going to play out really well for him. And I think people, when they start to see tax cuts and cheaper prices and the 401k start popping back, and they will.
Yeah.
They absolutely will. I think this will pass. So he's got a very short window where he has to do a lot of hard things before you really have to start thinking about the midterms. And so I think he's trying to get as much done as quickly as he possibly can going in.
You talk about trying to get as much done quickly as possible. That interview last night with Terry Moran at ABC, I just played the audio and talked a little bit about it earlier.
I was listening, yeah.
The whole concept of due process, and where Moran he kept hammering, Donald Trump on these, 21 million illegal aliens getting their due process. And I'm unsure of what the legalese is for Trump to justify deporting these folks, except that he wants it to be fast and he wants it to be quick. And here's what I would say about that. I had a whole monologue on this earlier, but I just find it so telling that you have all of these people in the media, and they're so concerned with the due process of these people going out of the country when they didn't seem concerned at all about them literally breaking into our country.
Yeah, listen, where was the process of them coming in proper? There was no process at all. It was just a rubber stamp. Let's rubber stamp them. They got rubber stamped in. Let's rubber stamp them out.
Right.
I mean, basically, if you need to line everybody up and the judge has to bang his gavel in a 15-second hearing, let it be. But I mean, seems like to me when you come into this country illegally, you are not a citizen of this country. So how far do your rights extend? I don't think that's sort of this gray area.
It is a gray area.
Ultimately, the Supreme Court's going to have to decide on it.
Yep.
But in the meantime, I think, you've shut down the flow. You're making it, you're giving people incentive to leave the country voluntarily by saying if you leave now, then we can work out a way for you to come back in legally if you're a good person. But, what obligation do we have as a nation to harbor criminals who've been sent here, to empty out the prisons in El Salvador?
Right.
By the way, the Kilmar Abrego Garcia story.
Yes.
The interesting development. It just happened. That they have a situation where the Department of Justice apparently now investigating that traffic stop in Tennessee that has raised so many eyebrows. Why did they let him go? He's in a van. He's in an SUV. He's got 8 people, no luggage. The person who owned the vehicle had already been convicted of human trafficking.
Pretends he can't speak English.
Yeah, all that stuff. Well, apparently now the DOJ is looking into that. I don't think they're looking so much at the state of Tennessee as they are who at the FBI told them to let this guy go.
Absolutely.
And one way or the other, I thought it's very interesting now that the Department of Justice is investigating that matter.
Well, the other thing that's interesting, Brian, and people may have missed it when we spoke about this earlier, New York Post is reporting the Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the ex of his wife, okay, I got to follow the bouncing ball. The ex of his wife filed legal paperwork, apparently, because he was upset that the wife was dating an MS-13 gang member. That would be Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Right. And that was years ago. So, we were having this whole, I don't even know if I want to go back to it, but we're having this whole discussion about the MS-13 tattoos on dudes' knuckles. And I don't care whether it is photoshopped or not.
That's not the determining factor, really.
Exactly, Brian. That's not the... I don't care about that. I care about all of this other stuff. People are fighting me to the death on, the fact that it's not photoshopped. And I don't care. There's so much other evidence to get hung up on that.
That's the one thing you don't need to get hung up on, but
Exactly.
one way or the other. Listen, this guy was trouble. He has no business being in this country. But why in the world would they stop him on the road in Tennessee? And the FBI, and as I understand it, the FBI actively, when you make a stop like that and it's somebody that's on their radar,
Yep.
It flags some computer screen in Washington, D.C., and the FBI called and said, let him go.
Yep. Unbelievable. All right, real
Why
quick.
would you ever do that?
Real quick, locally, here in Nashville,
Right.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell might be preparing his budget.
Yeah.
30% property tax increase. Insiders are saying that is going to happen. Apparently, one of the things they're going to do is blame Trump for this due to what they call federal funding cuts.
Oh, my goodness.
What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we all knew that he couldn't pay for his transit plan
Right.
without having to raise taxes.
Yep.
I mean, he never admitted that, but we all knew that couldn't happen. At least I certainly saw that coming about a mile away. Listen, there will be an outrageous response. I mean, 20 or 30% increase in property taxes that we're hitting people where they live. A lot of people will not be able to do it, and won't be able to, come up with the dough for that. Mm-hmm. And I think it really is all because of his transit plan. I think ultimately he's got to find ways to fund the government and do this expensive transit plan. And I applaud those who are now standing and saying we're going to protest any property tax increase in Nashville. Let's have another tax protest. We need one.
Listen, Brian, people need the extra cash to have the $250 to watch Kamala Harris do her speech.
There you go.
All right, very good.
My goodness, Kamala Harris. You think she would have learned to just go quietly away?
You know what, though? California, and I just had a little thing on this. California a lot of people want her to become the governor, even though she has helped destroy the state of California when she was attorney general and district attorney. It is absolutely insane, these people on the left. It's like,
everybody's leaving California, and yet the people who stay there just continue to make bad decisions when they go to the polls. And you get what you deserve, I suppose, but it's really a sad thing to see the state of California sort of get into the state of disrepair that it's in right now, and that she's the last thing that they need.
All right. Very good. Brian, thank you as always. And brought to you by the Wellness Institute of Nashville. And Brian, have fun on your way back to Tennessee through Texas. I guess,
I'll be back there later this afternoon.
Oh, all right. Very good. All right. Talk to you later. Brian Wilson. All right. By the way, there will be a Joan, just so you know, and so people listening know, Pamela Furr has texted me. Tell folks there is a rally tomorrow. Because Brian was talking about, protesting. There's a rally tomorrow in front of the library at 9 a.m. Protesting the possible property tax increase from Mayor Freddie O'Connell.
Ooh.
Yep. Tax and spend Freddie. You think I can make that happen? Like put it on a hashtag?
Yeah, I think you could make it happen.
Tax and spend Freddie?
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that. Put it on a hashtag. There you go. By the way, that's going to be before his State of Metro address, which is happening tomorrow. All right, very good. Joan Jones is here in the newsroom. Joan, what's coming up at 7:30?
So the government's read on the economy, a pretty consequential report, is due out any minute now. We're on top of it. We'll bring it to you as soon as it comes out here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Joan, I failed.
What? Oh, no.
I forgot to do aperture. I forgot to throw aperture
Oh, no,
at
you
Brian.
didn't do it.
No,
Call
but
him
you know
back.
what? He totally threw me off with the whole well Dan thing.
Yeah.
Of all you know what he did? He knew that I was going to throw aperture at him, and so he caught me off guard with the well Dan.
It was clearly his fault.
I have been well Dan by the most important people in my life. It's just a matter of time before my daughter does it.
Yeah. And your grandson.
And my grandson. Oh,
Yeah.
I can imagine that. It's all right. He's already pooped on me. Anyway, 7:26. Moving right along. 7:26, Dan Mandis here. And listen, if you have been sidelined with chronic back, neck, and knee pain, check out my friends at the Wellness Institute.